Many people do not know that clergy secretly have a separate rota we call the seminarian rota, where we take difficult passages and we assign a seminarian to them. We watch them squirm as they wade through the quagmire of spirituality in this world,
Evil.
very real world. I don't have a seminarian right now. Did you ever preach on this passage?
Not yet.
It was not year 3 apparently. C. So you get to watch me squirm today. Truth be told, I love this passage. It feels like Jesus is shaking up his followers by throwing a wrench in the theological machinery used to fabricate their holier-than-thou framework. Oh, how offensive. What is he possibly talking about? Dishonest wealth. Make friends by dishonest wealth. Religion has this tendency to separate itself from those who we call worldly. It has this tendency to be arrogant, becoming uniquely divisive by elevating itself above all the muck of that world. Let's just all shake our head. Glad we're not a part of that. Is anyone here willing to say that all of your accumulated wealth is honest? Anybody? Twice?
I expected that it was.
Is the stock market righteous?
Yeah, I don't know.
Fair? Is the wealth of this country founded on treating all people as God's children?
No.
Do you benefit from the wealth of this country?
Yes.
Has the creation of the wealthiest nation on this planet found its foundation on the unrighteous embrace of slavery?
Yes.
Is Jesus saying that all wealth is dishonest in some form or other?
I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This clarifies a lot, don't you think? I personally think it's time to join the human race again and accept that we are part of the problem. That we are in it, not above it. I tell you, make friends for yourself by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into the eternal homes. All the forms of accumulated wealth. It's not a pure thing. Jesus' prayer, after all, was not, give us this day our lifelong secure portfolio, one that will allow us to stop praying or relying upon God. We know the prayers for daily bread, daily reliance, daily spontaneity, daily generosity. Living, not out of fear. I love this passage because it does not allow us to escape generational sin. We cannot wash our hands like Pilate, thinking that we have done what we can do. I love this passage because it doesn't fit our tightly structured purist theology. It's like an odd-shaped piece that simply does not fit into our theological puzzle, no matter how we try to cram it in. And it's always bothered me that in biblical scholarship, that at least as Christianity goes, there are these nice, clean little categories. Like, oh, this is history, this is parable, this is poetry, this is prophecy, this is law, etc. How tidy. Just plug it into those things. What you don't see It's categories like satire, humor, or sarcasm, because those are human, unholy categories. Not for Jews.
Sarcasm.
Very, very at home with these kind of readings and passages. If we embraced more human categories, we might better understand difficult passages in our scriptures as an invitation to come back down to earth, folks, and join the human race, the quagmire, get our feet into it, realize that our hands are dirty. If you think it's time to get our hands dirty, too late. Our hands are dirty. We don't make room for the full humanity of Jesus. If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Love that verse? People have trembled because of that verse. Because it's never been seen as a joke, or as humor, or sarcasm. Really? You think your eye is the source of sin? Not your heart? So just get rid of the eye. Pluck it out, and you're good to go. What were the disciples really doing? Were they laughing when he said that? We can't see it because there's not a footnote. Disciples roar with laughter. Disciples offended at sarcasm. I love that Jesus also celebrates another touchy thing in a lot of Christian understanding. That he celebrates self-interest. If I asked you, what's your response to the phrase self-interest? Be honest with yourself. What would it be? But so much of religion is not an invitation to self-anything. Self-awareness, self-compassion. But it's often about self-condemnation, self-abandonment, self-judgment. But as you all know, loving your neighbor as you love yourself is usually bad news for your neighbors. What happened to that? Self-compassion, self-awareness, self-love. What happened to your self-interest? We think it's an awful thing. Why do we not see that we are completely unable to connect to others if we are not connecting to ourselves? We need to stop being mean to ourselves if we desire to be kind to others. So don't be so hard on yourself. Be like the unjust manager. You heard it here. Who became self-aware, knowing his inabilities and faults, and finding a way to do two things at the same time because they go together to both help others in the process of helping yourself. I mean, look at this story. Why didn't he just cancel the debt altogether? What do you think is behind that? Wouldn't you just do that? Give me your debt. Pay, give me your debt. Pay, give me your debt. Pay. That's not what he did. He was probably acting out of some kind of integrity in his self-interest. He was probably saying, well, I'm just deducting everything the master is making off of you. I'm letting that piece go today, and I'm just writing this down. Maybe he had lost his way, his principles, because he was working for a jerk, a greedy owner. The point here is that this guy became aware of a way to take care of himself while taking from the uber rich and giving to the uber poor. Even the owner admires his shrewdness, which put him in the position of losing money, which, if he tried to get back, would put him in a terrible position. As one commentator put it, this is just game recognizing game. That's the kind of stuff we should be bringing to our ministries. Some of you may not know that during my time as your rector, I was the founding chair of Gamaliel, California. It was an effort to bring, and still is, to bring together all the Gamaliel organizations throughout the state, including Genesis as part of that, but organizations in San Diego, Los Angeles, Northern California. We wanted to bring them all together and work on statewide issues, not just city or regional issues. In that context, one of our strongest allies was the ARC. This organization promotes and protects the human rights of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And their rep informed us that people with wheelchairs were not able to get on buses in Bakersfield because the curbs at bus stops were not painted red, even though that was part of code. And parked cars would park there as a result, thus not allowing the bus with a lift to get close enough to the curb, thus leaving people in wheelchairs abandoned on the sidewalk. So, the plan. The plan was to find out where these curbs were, what was the exact color and paint that the city used, to get a pallet of it, place a can of paint on every altar in the East Bay that we could get to join us in that, bless that paint, explain to the congregation what we were doing, and then possibly explain why we might not be here the following week. Because what we were doing was breaking the law, being dirty, not being pure, not being law-abiding. We were going to go with our collars on, kneel in the gutter, and paint these curbs. And hopefully get arrested. Because our purpose was to shame, guilt, embarrass, humiliate people that were sitting around doing nothing for other people that they were voted into office to serve. I got a call before we kicked this effort off from Mary Gonzalez, our organizer. She said, "Scott, did you hear what happened in Bakersfield?" I said, "No, what happened?" Our rep from the ARC leaked this information to the city council. All the curbs are painted red. I was so disappointed. We should be mischievous. We should get our hands dirty. You know, we should not worry about being purist or not, because we are in it. We are in an unjust culture, an unjust world. We trade with dishonest wealth all the time. Let us not forget that. Let us be mindful of where the so-called abundance has come from. It's really not ours. We're here to steward it. Our stewardship theme this year is titled A Banner Year. Can you guess why? If you read the article in Mouse. We've got a place to hang banners on the main street. We had a place to say, how in a few words would you describe why you're at St. John's? Just a few, an elevator speech, a refrigerator magnet, all right? And we're going to ask you for what your phrase might be. Because we're going to start sticking up some banners, experimenting with banners, and so forth. And just to capture that is really important because, as I mentioned in the article, how many of you have ever had someone respond to you by saying, "You go to church?" Anybody?
All the time.
That means two things. A, they respect you. And B, they don't respect churches. That's why you get that question. You go to church. They love you. And they can't put the two together because of all the messaging. So what an opportunity we have to put our banner out. And all of our banners will be a little bit different. But we get to say, what is it that draws us to St. John's in this community? So the vestry has already started that. And I'm going to share what Steve Baronian came up with. His banner is encouraging good trouble since 1950. I think maybe if someone saw that banner, they'd go, huh, maybe I'll feel welcome there. What would yours be? Now more than ever, we need to be troublemakers. People who Jesus, in another parable, described as being innocent as doves and shrewd as serpents. Shrewd as serpents, that would be a good banner. If we re-engage our humanity and become incarnate to ourselves, even our enemies will commend us for being shrewd. So come up with that banner that honestly embraces your unique human joy this stewardship season. And for God's sake, share some of that dishonest wealth you have and make eternal friends here with this shrewd church of yours.